Welcome to a cold and snowy introduction for this month's clips from January 2025. Despite not every day being awful weather, here on the 3rd of January, on a lovely sunny but cold day, I was almost despawned by this careless driver in the local Tesco car park. Yeah, don't mind me mate, I'll just go around. The new year wasn't off to the best start, as the previous day, my first commute of 2025, this impatient driver, on the right there, failed to keep left of the keep left sign. It's your money and license, pal, you do what you want, you can afford the points and the fine, right? On the subject of impatient drivers, this is a regular theme on Skellingthorpe Road's pedestrian crossing. They just stack up into the crossroads, blocking the traffic as well as the crossing. We're 4 days into January, why are y'all in such a rush? Sticking with the subject of impatience, which is what a lot of poor driving standards boils down to. Corner cutters. Slow a little more and take the corner properly. Or you can take the fine and points if you can afford them both. I was almost despawned a second time, a week after the first, almost despawning, by this driver and their ridiculous decision to pick this point to overtake. The oncoming vehicle had to slow and I was squeezed between the stationary vehicle on my left and the moron in a van on my right. On the same stretch of road but in the opposite direction, this driver had to race by me. What an idiot move. They didn't even leave me a foot of distance from the end of my handlebars. Some Lincoln drivers still like to use their phone whilst behind the wheel. It's such an easy prosecution with barely a couple of seconds of footage. And I have never had an accused phone driver take it to court to contest it. Bang to rights and they know it. Even those like this one parked up with her engine on in the oncoming lane. I'm not saying Lincoln's drivers are as thick as pig scat, but the evidence really does speak for itself. Fancy stopping on a level crossing. Why on earth would you? This guy's bag was open, I couldn't not let him know. Although he didn't appear to be too grateful about it. Not to worry, I'm keeping my positive mindset as much as possible this month. That said, these three kinda got on my nerves. This pickle was busy on the phone. There is clearly a separate cycle lane and footpath. The clue is the solid white line. This next one has their headphones on. And she appears to be allergic to the footpath. And this last one, I'm sure he makes his mother proud somehow. It's certainly not by behaving like a complete moron. This was an intentional step into my path. I just wonder how long it took both of his brain cells to come up with this stupid move. Again, not even 2 weeks into the new year, I find one driver using the footpath to progress when they should have yielded to the oncoming traffic. A very costly financial mistake. But it's the pedestrians again that really get me. They see me but they don't care and step out at me anyway. Unsupervised crotch goblins. I saw the creep from the vehicle on the right. Not appreciated, pal. Wait until I've gone past you. It's not a race. Just to address the point of crossing solid white lines. Crossing the line into a cycle box is the same penalty as running a red light. Crossing a solid white line on a mandatory cycle lane is also going to cost you points and money. Don't be a selfish twerp and put cyclists in danger. A solid white by a cycle lane makes it a mandatory cycle lane, no motor vehicles allowed. Stupidity continued throughout the month as we come to the last week of January. This first example of idiocy was making her own lane by invading that of the oncoming traffic wishing to turn right. I sincerely hope she lost her license. What an impatient and selfish act. From the thumbnail, if that's the one you got, this bus driver is really regretting this silly move. And gain nothing more than points, a fine, and likely a word or two from his bosses. A minute later and there are pedestrians walking in a live road. Trust, there's a car behind me. These pedestrians are lacking more than one brain cell for sure. Avoid the double yellows and take up the footpath, or don't, because that's also going to cost upwards of £200 and at least 3 points. Well, that's all for this month, folks. Thank you for hanging about until the final clip, Win Street done properly. You see, not all of Lincoln's drivers need a lobotomy. I'll be back again with February's video in a couple of weeks. Until then, take care of each other and stay safe out there. Especially if you're unfortunate enough to be on the roads of Lincoln.